I want you to be careful and cautious and notice that everybody's going to have a different opinion. Somebody is going to say that you should just start your podcast right now and go ahead and do it on your cell phone and have bad audio quality because the audio quality doesn't really matter because nobody's really listening, they say. And another person will say, just start, you can change it later. Another person will say, you have to use this Blue Yeti, which please don't use the Blue Yeti. If you're curious what that is, it is a microphone that is terrible for podcasting, but they're really good at marketing for podcasters. And so they get a whole bunch of people using the wrong type of mic in their office, and then they have a worse quality than they could if they didn't use it. But anyway, the point is, somebody's going to say, oh, just use a $20 mic. Another person's going to say, you got to spend at least $200. Another person's going to say, you could just start with this one thing and upgrade later. Another person's going to say, this $500 mic is the best one. That's the right one to go. And the problem is your head starts freaking spinning. Vegan, carnivore, bodybuilding, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, cross training, cycling. What should I be doing? Should I start a podcast? Should I not start a podcast? Should I start a podcast with this mic or with that mic? Because it's differing opinions. And here's the point. Two things. One is, yes, some people will give you some shit. Okay. The vegan diet, it'll probably work. Carnivore, it'll probably work. It's basically because you're not eating the crackers. But there are people that are like, oh, you can eat processed food all you want. And then it changes your hormones. And then you're grumpy, you're fat, you're this and that. So the point is that there's all sorts of advice. And the right advice gets rid of the shit. The correct advice, the better advice gets rid of the shit. On this podcast, I do my absolute best to get rid of the shit, to allow you to be able to narrow it down. But there is going to be somebody that says something opposite from me, but it'll work too. The vegan diet works. The carnivore diet works. Keto might work for a temporary amount of time, and CrossFit could work. Bodybuilding could work. Maybe even running could work. It gets you out. It gets you moving. There are pros and cons to everything. There are probably pros and cons to veganism. There are probably some pros and cons to carnivore, but they will both work if you stick strict to them. CrossFit will work if you stick strict to them. And whatever the advice is that you get from people, if you feel like it's not advice, follow it. Do it to the best of your ability. Follow what you hear on this podcast. And if you focus on it, it will work. I know that it works because it works for me and it works for 60 of my clients. So the stuff that I share on this, it does work, but somebody might have a different opinion. Somebody might have something else that also works. As long as you're not doing the shit, you'll be able to get some value out of it. And so that's really what I wanted to talk about is just be careful who you take advice from, but just cut out the crap and you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine in your business. You'll be just fine in your podcast. You'll be just fine in your nutrition. You'll be just fine in your health and fitness if you're exercising, as long as you are doing more good things and less of the bad things. And it's going to help you. It's going to benefit you.